Good morning, welcome to Headline Focus here on Core Politics Live with me, Rob Double. It's the end of the week, Friday the 6th of October 2017, and with the time just after 9 a.m, let's have a look at what's in the headlines. So to start off with, let's have a look at the Daily Mail. The Justice Minister Philip Lee, who is a GP himself, warns that the UK is becoming a selfish society. This is to do with the UK needing to face uncomfortable truths, he says, of looking after parents and grandparents and not relying on the state to do it instead. He has criticised families for outsourcing the care of their elderly relatives to people who he says are paid to care. That's an interesting story. Pick up a Daily Mail if you're interested in that. Next up comes from the Financial Times. The Brexit buffer has been wiped out. Now, this is to do with what they're saying is a bloodbath in public finances due to weak economic forecasts which are coming out. This has caused the government's plans for having a buffer, a financial buffer during Brexit, to be effectively wiped out. They're saying, the Office of Budget Responsibility is saying up to two-thirds of the £26 billion Philip Hammond has put aside as a buffer during the Brexit period will be wiped out, and this is due to two optimistic forecasts previously, and so now the reality is biting in of what's actually happened in the economy, and as a result what's actually happening in public finances. So very, very negative news for the Treasury. The FT is reporting that this has caused a huge amount of surprise amongst Treasury figures and also economic forecasters as well. The fund was obviously high stakes in the sense it was needed to guarantee, or for the Chancellor to be able to guarantee, a smooth Brexit transition period. Obviously, this is a developing story. It'll be interesting to see how the Treasury responds in the coming days and indeed the next few hours. Let's look in focus then at the main story today, which is to do again with Theresa May. Now, this is to do with a Tory plot to oust Theresa May. As you can see, we've got the Eye and the Telegraph up in front of you. Tory rebels plot to oust the PM next week, says the Eye newspaper. They're reporting that 30 Conservative MPs will call for Mrs May to step down, but a majority of the parliamentary party, so the MPs in the Commons, still back her. This is after her very shaky performance in her conference leaders' speech on Wednesday, which was supposed to be her comeback speech as leader to unite the party under her. And now, whether it was from coughs and a prankster interrupting her and also the sign behind her falling down, the conference speech wasn't a great success. Have a look at the previous headline focuses if you want to know more on that. Who is causing this big plot to oust Theresa May? Well, it seems to be coming from former Conservative Party chairman Grant Shapps. He's basically been identified as the real ringleader behind it. And he's in fact got a quote in the Times today saying, "I think having lost an election, the party must look for a new leader to take us forward." So very, very, very bold comment, and indeed very upfront comment challenging Theresa May. Interesting to see how that develops in the next few hours. However, as you can see in the Telegraph, they've gone for a far more sympathetic angle, quoting the Home Secretary Amber Rudd as appealing for Theresa May to stay on as Prime Minister. So definitely she's got her backing of the backing of the Home Secretary. Amber Rudd has said Britain has reached a turning point as a nation, and she's indeed the first Cabinet Minister to acknowledge that there is a question surrounding the Prime Minister's future. So this is very much a developing story politically. We'll see where it goes in the next few hours and indeed over the weekend. Final story then comes from City AM. Airfares to Europe, Europe's most popular destinations, have rocketed a massive 43%. This is since the news of Ryanair cancelling flights last month, and also Monarch Airlines going into administration. These two airlines have disrupted about 2 million passengers collectively, and this has caused fares to rise hugely, and fares are expected to rise in the future as the airline industry, faces rising costs and exceeding capacity at airports. So not great news if you're a frequent traveller on airlines, but that's certainly something which will be developing again in the future. That's pretty much it for today. You're up to date. Don't forget you can find all the latest on what we're doing here on Core Politics on our Facebook page and Twitter. But from me and all the team here at Core London, have yourself a fantastic weekend ahead.